Series, Xfinity Series, and the Monster Energy Cup races.
Holy cow.
In addition, you'll receive a 2-night stay at the Microtel Hotel and restaurant accommodations at 2 area restaurants.
Nuga Radio.
Roar into Talladega.
Nuga Radio.
92.7.
Your NASCAR racing station. Nuga Radio 92.7 FM.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
It's the moment you've been waiting for. Sam Jordan's Nuga Radio 92.7 Sports now.
Eggs and meat and potatoes and all that.
Well, yeah, anytime you throw just some potatoes and some bacon and some eggs and sausage and cheese.
Yeah.
On the one. Now I'm hungry. Now I'm hungry. So
one time, I was doing mornings at a radio station up in Williamsport, and there was like 4 of us that would come in at around 5 in the morning, and 2 of them on the FM side, the news girl, and then I always did the AM side by myself. And the guys over on the FM side, they said, boy, we could really go for some breakfast. They didn't eat before they came. You would not believe how many people brought in milk, a gallon of milk, cereal. They brought in stuff from DD. They brought in McDonald's. And it was like we were eating. I mean, we almost was able to feed the entire staff.
How many gallons of milk were probably brought in?
I think about 3.
Oh,
yeah.
A lot of milk.
That's a lot of milk, yeah. But, now the door is open, and when you come in the door here, you can see us here in the studio. So, I mean, if you want to bring us some...
I mean, if anybody feels bad for us and that we're hungry and that we woke up and didn't go get breakfast like a bunch of idiots.
Yeah. I normally don't eat breakfast because whenever I eat, it's like, well, I'm kind of like churning for about an hour or so. I'm not trying to be gross or anything, but it's like when you eat, it's just the way it is. But
I'm just hungry.
Yeah. But sausage, ham, steak, eggs, whatever. Yeah. Orange juice or milk will be fine, or we'll just drink water.
I'm completely okay with water. But if somebody's stopping to get some coffee too, that'd be wonderful as well.
I'm not into the coffee thing. My dad used to make a 30-cup pot of coffee. He'd make it a couple times a day and just drink on it. The one time,
30 cups,
30-cup pot of coffee.
That's a lot of coffee.
I mean, that's one of those.
Yeah, that's one of those big like percolator things.
Yeah. And it's like one time, because of where we lived at, around the corner and just down the street a little ways, the police department, because they always came over. You're popping out here. Would come over and get their cars worked on. The city would have my neighbor who had a garage, do the repairs. And we found out that they were going to have a raid over at this warehouse just right around the corner from us. And it was like my dad took a 30-cup over there for the cops. Yeah, for the cops, for the raid. And it was like, okay, my dad was getting brownie points.
They're bound to get tired. So you got to have some caffeine infusion. Yeah. So might as well.
Well, I know, when I used to be a Pennsylvania constable for 16 years, everybody thought, our normal hangouts would be DD, Krispy Kreme, or some convenient Wawa.
Wawa.
Yes.
Let's not go off on that tangent again.
And it's like, I never got into coffee unless it was very, very cold. Would be about the only time I would drink coffee, but most of the time I would go to hot chocolate before I would coffee.
See, I'll even in the summer when it's 95 degrees outside, I got to have a cup of coffee every day. Especially like during the week when when you're working, and I'll drink 3 or 4 cups a day. Just throw them back, make it through the day.
But looks like it's going to be a decent day. Yesterday, well, they say there's rain in the forecast. But after yesterday, it was like 2 tsunamis, it looked like at times.
It was awful. I was leaving work, and it was like not cloudy. And then about 10 minutes into the drive, it looked like we were about to get hit by a hurricane. Yeah. I was like, what is going on?
Yesterday afternoon, I was over in the sales office talking with the girls over there, and we were talking about our plans to get ready. Last week it was you. This week it's me. But anyway, we were talking about the Chattanooga Waterfront Triathlon, which we'll talk about here in just a few moments. And all of a sudden, it was just like coming down in sheets, and then all of a sudden, the direction just shifted and came south. And I mean, it was just hitting the windows over in the sales office. Like, wow, that's pretty hard rain. And then later on, the better half and I, we went out to eat up in Hickson, and I'm sitting there, looking out in toward the parking lot because we weren't too far from the front window. It was like really nice, clear skies, and then, or at least it seemed to be. And then all of a sudden, it's like same thing again. It happened at 3 o'clock. Happened at, I guess around 7:30 or so, and just hard rain. And it lasted for like 10 minutes, and it kind of reminded me. I was talking to the boss on the phone. And I said, this rain that we've had for the last couple of days kind of reminds you of the weather down in Florida. Every day at 4 o'clock, it would rain hard for 5 minutes. Yeah, that's what I'd say. And then in 5 minutes, it was dry like it'd never done anything.
When I lived in Orlando, I would say that to people all the time that were tourists in the area. They're like, does it always rain in the summer? I said, I'll guarantee you every day between 3 to 6, you're going to, no matter what, get some sort of rain.
Yeah.
And then after it's over, it gets really miserably hot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
it's like bad.
Yeah, those were like some Florida summer storms. They would just pop up out of nowhere.
Right.
And
it's like I'm hoping that I don't have to deal with that down here in Tennessee or Georgia.
Wrong.
Yeah.
Not as frequently, but they happen.
I said to one of my coworkers yesterday, I said, if I wanted to live in Seattle, I would have moved to Seattle, and I knew that we would be having rain all the time. But this is Tennessee, the South. It's not like this, is it?
In the summer, it is.
Oh wow!
Yeah, we get a lot of rain in the rainy season, but this is a lot different than normal. I think we are in an El Nino, so we're going to get a lot of rain, and probably it's going to be colder than normal this winter. So.
Well, I can deal with cold. I mean, that's nothing. I can deal with a foot of snow and, at one time still be able to drive on it.
Yeah, no. Well, you won't down here because the people around you don't know what they're doing. So.
Well, hell, yesterday.
Well, that's true. In the rain, they don't know what they're doing either.
No, this wasn't even in the rain. I'm going down the street here on Ringgold Road. We're over here in Eastridge. And it's like fire trucks, ambulances, like crazy are going to some wreck or something.
What's going on?
And it's like I see it, and it's like, okay, they overcompensated as far as with the pieces of equipment.
No, they didn't, did they?
Oh, they did.
Oh, okay.
And it was like a couple ambulances that were going, and it's like, okay. And then all of a sudden the lights were turned off, and they were getting ready to head back to quarters. Go up the road, go up toward Saudi Daisy. And I'm on 153, and all of a sudden, there's a couple of vehicles that are in a pile up there by the Lowe's. Evidently, a truck was coming from the northbound side, and another vehicle was coming from the south, and they were going in at the same time. Well, it didn't look pretty, and then when this maroon-looking Volvo was coming out of Lowe's onto 153, couldn't get stopped enough, so it was like a three-way T-bone in a way. Oh, yeah. And that I came up on like moments after that happened. And then I get further up in Saudi.
Is there another one?
And there was another one there just over the hill where they did all the blacktopping recently resurfaced.
Is that 153?
Yeah, 153 there. Just over the hill, just before you get into the heart of Saudi Daisy.
Dayton Pike.
And it was like, in the middle lane, there was a head-on in the middle turn lane.
Yeah, head-on collision. Yeah. Oh, that's outstanding.
It's like, Saudi Daisy cops were up there very quickly, too.
Well, man,
not a whole lot going on.
Not a whole lot going on in Saudi Daisy. They have, and I'll be honest, I know most of them because growing up there and everything, my grandmother worked at the city hall and all that stuff, so I know a lot of them, and talk about some just laid back cops.
Yeah.
Sorry, Daisy. They're not used to having to deal with stuff. So when there's a wreck, it's like they all show up.
Yeah. But the one thing I will say about Saudi Daisy, while we're talking about Saudi, is is probably the one community out of the Chattanooga metropolitan area that hasn't been touched as far as the commercials. There is some.
It's so quaint.
Yeah, and I love that about small towns. I mean, yeah, you're close to the big city, but you're just a little bit away.
Yeah, I mean, I can be downtown in 20 minutes. Right. So, I mean, that's great. I'll be at Hamilton Place in 15, 20 minutes. You know? So, I mean, you're in a really good spot there. And so, you know, it's great. And you don't have to deal with the idiots that you have to when you live downtown or whatever.
But, yeah, it's kind of a quiet sports week. And I know we're going to have that little quell of a quiet time.
But at least we have World Cup going on. So, I mean, that's
Belgium.
It's been played 19 minutes during the 19th minute, and they've already been 3 goals scored. So, defense is optional, apparently.
But, you know, the World Cup's going on. The NBA draft, you know, got underway on Thursday night.
I can't wait till Keon gets here and so I can just tell him I told you so about the Hawks. Completely screwing the pooch on that one.
Yeah. I had a young man from my neck of the woods that got drafted 50th in the NBA draft Thursday night.
50th, I'd put him around
Indiana Pacers.
Yeah, and I'd put him around middle of the second round.
Yeah.
Late second round. That's pretty awesome.
Elise Johnson.
Where did he play?
Bishop Newman High School in Williamsport, and then he went to Missouri. Well, he went to JUCO first and then went to Missouri State. And, I mean, he's just one of these all-purpose, stands 6'6", and he's got a pretty good body. Speak of the devil.
Well, hey, and
he's going to get on his perch here.
he's going to pop a squat. I'll say this. There's this guy on Tunisia right here, and I'm sorry to bore people with soccer, but that's my kind of soccer player. He just hit somebody with a forearm shiver. That was awesome. Oh, got him. All right, sorry. We'll start with this.
I've always said soccer should be more like hockey.
I agree.
If you want to grow in America, you got to make it more
physical. It hit some people.
Yeah.
It hit some people.
Let a fight break out.
Hey, since you're here, I told you so.
Yeah, no.
I told you so.
We can talk more about it later, because I've been trying to find upsides on it.
We'll dive into it, but that was the first thing I wanted to. That was the first thing I wanted to tell you.
We were doing your show on Thursday because you were out, and the NBA draft was that night, and we had it pulled up here in the studio. And Nick was telling me the Atlanta Hawks are going to find a way to ruin the draft, and I'm like, look, you're third in a pretty rich draft. How? They did it. They found a way to do it. They traded down. They took the one guy that I didn't think they should have drafted. And, you know, I mean...
And then the Sixers traded later and got a better draft pick. Protected draft pick than the Hawks did.
So, it all wound up working against them. So
it was a terrible draft. And then they drafted some guy I'd never heard of at 19 or wherever that was when they had their second pick.
Yeah, well, once we get past 15, I stopped knowing people. So that's...
I do know one person. I was just saying before you walked in the door, Pacers selected number 50 in the second round there, Elise Johnson from up in Williamsport, PA, where I'm from. 6'6" athlete, pretty much all purpose. That's the only person I can say I know in the draft.
Well,
you mean you don't know
all the PA guys? Sam knows all the PA guys.
All the PA guys. Penn State didn't have anybody drafted, did they?
Did Tennessee?
No, but we're going to have.
That's this one because he went back to college.
Yeah,
I mean,
I would much rather him stay at Tennessee than go to the NBA.
Admiral Schofield, he would have been drafted had he gone.
Yeah, probably went in the second round if he did.
Yeah, he probably thought, and this probably happens more often than not. Probably his agent. Well, he didn't have an agent. That's why he wanted to go back to school. But he was.
Yeah, you talk to scouts, and scouts will tell you, look, we would draft you here if we were to draft.
The NBA does this the right way. Compared to any other league with their draft, they change. They let their players, quote unquote, declare for the draft, get evaluated, and then if they don't like their evaluation, they can go back to college.
Right.
I don't know of any other sport that allows it to really go that far because they let them go a long way in the process.
You can go to the combine even and go. No.
The only thing you don't do is put your name in the draft. That's literally the only thing you can't do.
Right.
And you know, Admiral did a good job. I think he got graded out being second round.
Yeah.
And I think if Admiral with his size, if he ends up and has another really good year, he can go in the first round.
He could. Next year's draft probably won't be as deep and it'll be better. So
it won't, yeah, and as he continues to develop the jump shot at his size with the ability to drive the lane and to post up, even being smaller. Yeah, he's going to get drafted.
He's going to go far.
Yeah, and I love that guy.
They're just taking him out of his catcher.
Oh, well, it is soccer, so there's probably nothing really wrong with him.
Yeah. He just wanted to free ride out.
I saw that one time. So the U.S. women's team was playing the Brazilian women's team. And they were just... It wasn't here. It was in the one of the World Cups that they won.
Mm-hmm.
And the player was Marta, who's one of the greatest women's soccer players of all time. But Marta was just trying to waste time because they were up by 1 goal and it was already in stoppage time. So she faked an injury. They take her off on the stretcher. And after wasting all that time, she hops off of the stretcher like 5 seconds later. I was like, that is the worst thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Only in soccer could that actually happen.
While we're on soccer, and we won't stay on this much longer because I know it's not the most popular sport in this country, especially
the U.S. is not in it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. But is it bad that I'm not a big fan of the guy? I feel like this has happened to me multiple times this year, but not a big fan of Lionel Messi. But for the love of God, his team is awful.
No, he's bad. I mean, he's good. The team's bad. It's really he's a big, like, that sort of once in a generational talent that you just it's being wasted basically on an Argentine team.
LeBron James on the soccer field.
Basically, yeah. I mean, you could say Cristiano Ronaldo's great, and he is great, but his team's good. Like, Portugal is a good soccer team.
Which blows my mind how small Portugal is, and they have all this great soccer.
Soccer is weird that way. Your population doesn't necessarily dictate. Sometimes it's just, look, this is all your country's got going for you, and you set up academies and everything else to make sure that works. Yeah, and they do.
Yeah, I mean, it's worked for Iceland. I mean, they've put on a pretty decent showing.
Who would have thought?
Yeah,
who would have thought?
I want to remind everybody you can call in with your questions or comments to the Breakfast Blitz with this guy right here, Nick Leffew. Keon's right behind him. We can see Keon now.
It's okay. You can hear me.
Keon is overshadowed by Mr. Leffew. Anyway, you can call in at 423-800-8949. 423-800-8949. You can also comment on Facebook Live, and we're also being shown on YouTube, too.
How do you have... This is the 26th minute, and they have 8 shots on goal.
And Tunisia's got just 1.
And scored, to be fair.
Yeah.
Well, you missed it, Keon. I hadn't even looked at it. And we're in the 7th minute, and there's a PK.
Yeah.
There's a PK.
Well, it is...
I was like, wow.
It looks like a physical game. So, I mean, you get one of those...
Well, we did have a full-on shiver, this is my kind of soccer right here. The more you hit, the better I like it. I'm all about, let's do some dirty slide tackles.
My brother doesn't like baseball, for instance, and anytime there's a baseball fight, my brother is there for it. Like, honestly... Fights are the thing that he shows up for. He's really not even all that interested in the baseball. He just
he hopes to God there's a bench clearing brawl.
Yeah, when Jose Bautista got to that fight with Ragnar Odor, that was that was my brother's favorite day in baseball history.
And it was in the playoffs,
which made it better.
Yeah. One thing, talking about fights and sports, I got a message from one of my former fill-in announcers up in New York State last night. My hockey team that I started doing from their inaugural season on just moved up a tier. They're no longer tier 3. They're now tier 2 in the North American Hockey League.
Ooh.
And they changed the name of the team, which that bummed me out. Southern Tier Express. They're now the Jamestown Rebels. That was in Philly. They moved from Philly to Jamestown, New York. Big contrasting difference.
Also, really, the Rebels as the name of a northern team? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, sure.
Well, I mean, if you
Rebels in
if you go back to 1776, weren't they all rebels?
I suppose, but, that's not what I think of when I think of
I know.
I think of Ole Miss.
Yeah.
And it's like cheating.
He said, about the team name change and everything, and it almost looks like the Patriots logo, except they're incorporating the entire contour of the state of New York in this logo. It looks pretty sharp. So look it up and you'll see what I mean. And it's like, I'm thinking about you saying about fights, and I'm thinking about hockey. We need to get a hockey team in Chattanooga.
Well, I'm 100%.
I miss hockey so much, and I know some people say, "Well, go back up north if you want to see hockey."
Well, I'll tell you this. When I worked for the Knoxville Ice Bears in Knoxville. Are
you sure it wasn't in Memphis?
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know why I said that. It was talking about people caring. I mean, that place was sold out every night.
Yeah. Hockey is such a great sport to go see live.
Yeah, it's not as good on TV. I'll be completely honest. It's really not. But when you're there, when you're in the rink and you hear the crunching of the boards and you feel the cold air
crunching and clashing, crashing,
and the great sound of a slap shot off.
Traffic, news, and information. Nuga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
The Cleveland Police Department says a 2-year-old boy was hit by a dark-colored truck, which then drove away. That 2-year-old was whisked to the hospital where he's recovering well. The police say it started when a mother of 3 was crossing the street with her kids, including a 2-year-old in a stroller. She said she turned her back for just a second when her 2-year-old got out of the stroller and walked back into the street. That's when he was hit by the driver. Reports say the driver stopped for just a moment and then sped away. 3 people confirmed dead in McMinn County after a car slammed into a train. McMinn County deputies confirmed that a train and a car collided on Highway 11 late Thursday. Sheriff Joe Guy told the press it happened just north of Calhoun. Hamilton County School Board voted 8-1 to bring in an outside consulting group to tackle the issue of diversity and equity in county schools. The only dissenting vote came from Rhonda Thurman, who says they're already working on diversity and equity. Russell Stroud, Nuga Radio News Talk 92.7 Action News now.
Chattanooga Morning News with Russ and Val. Weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m. on Nuga Radio 92.7 FM.
Chattanooga weather.
Areas of fog will sort out your Saturday. Otherwise, very warm and humid for the afternoon. Highs into the upper 80s, along with a few widely scattered late-day showers and storms. Tonight, 80 showers quickly diminishing. Lows 70 to 72. For Sunday and Monday, a few isolated afternoon showers and storms. Highs near 90. For lunch or dinner, come to Guthrie's, home of the original golden fried delicious chicken finger with their special world-famous sauce. Open daily. Locations in Trenton, Signal Mountain, and Ringgold. Go get Guthrie's. It's always good. And I'm Sourcine 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Moore.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
I got my business up and running, and it's already expanding. I got lucky. Lucky because I found Signal Voice and Data. Signal Voice and Data can incorporate all of my business information sharing and communications seamlessly, keep my costs down, and let me work more productively with endless connectivity no matter where I might be. That's called working smart, not hard. Go to signalvoicetn.com and bring the future of communication to your business today. signalvoicetn.com.
Hey, dude, check this out. Have you ever seen one so big? Whoa, look at the size of that.
Look at this little itty-bitty one.
Wow, that's really small. They have them big, small, and everything in between. You'll always find the biggest variety of knives at the knife shop at Frost Cutlery in Ottawa. We're talking about over 40 brands of knives, including Benchmade, WR Case & Sons, Booker, and all the Frost Cutlery brands. Now, Sam, you've been to the cutlery shop. Is it amazing?
Spectacular. The knife shop at Frost Cutlery in Ottawa. They have knives, swords, kitchen knives, ammo, and reloading supplies, plus survival gear.
It's the knife shop at Frost Cutlery. They're open 7 days a week. Hey, girls, you're going to love this. We're going to the knife shop.
Hey, let's not tell them they have ammo and loading supplies.
The knife shop at Frost Cutlery opens 7 days a week. You'll always find the biggest variety of knives. You're going to love the knife shop at Frost Cutlery in Ottawa. The knife shop.
And tell them David Toulis sent you.
Do you hear that? That, my friend, is not what you're thinking. That is the new 2018 Indian Chieftain Dark Horse. Yeah, Indian. Indian motorcycle is more than a bike. It's an experience. an American icon, and Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga is the only place you'll find their new 2018 line. Are you ready to ride? Join the club. Go to Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga. Just look for the sign, 153 and Amnicola. Indian Motorcycle, the true American original.
Hey, Karen, you need me for that 1 o'clock?
Yes, Cheese, please. Karen, did you get the quarterlies done? Yep, they're filed in the Cabernet cabinet.
Karen, can you describe the initiatives to the new hire? Thanks.
Oh, sure. Full-bodied, some floral notes, maybe a hint of dark chocolate.
Am I in the right department?
Got wine on the mind? Come unwind at Virgola. Italian wine, oysters, caviar, cheeses, and more. Perfect after work or a romantic date night. Virgola Italian Wine Bar, 608 Georgia Avenue.
Chattanooga Paint and Decorating would like to remind you it's so hot out there. And guess what? Your deck is taking a beating. It's probably starting to show wear. If you're hosting friends for the 4th, get your deck entertainment ready with a fresh coat of stain and protect it from heat, sun, and rain with a quality sealant. If you want to get to work, Chattanooga Paint and Decorating want to help you. For exterior paint, stains, sealants, and supplies, stop by Chattanooga Paint and Decorating today on Hicks and Pike across from Valvoline or online at ChattanoogaPaint.com.
Nuga Radio. Are you brain dead? Still voting for pathetic liberals? Take 3 hours of Sean Hannity from 3 to 6.
Nuga Radio.
Then call us in the morning between 9 and 11.
92.7
Nuga Radio. It's the moment you've been waiting for. Sam Jordan's Nuga Radio, 92.7 Sports. Now.
Nick Leffew and friends, Keon Rose, slipping in here for the final moments of the first segment. And, of course, you have me. And then I'm going to bail out of here because of getting stuff together to head down to the Chattanooga Waterfront Triathlon. 36th annual event. It started out with Riverbend. I got a little backstory on this from Jenny Burrs. And I guess Riverbend didn't want to continue doing it. And so the Chattanooga Track Club took it over. And it has continued on. Who knows how long this Waterfront Triathlon has been going. But evidently 36 years under the Track Club's
But this
tutelage.
is the first year that Sam Jordan's going to be on a bicycle.
In 25 years.
25 years.
In 25 years. But the first year at the triathlon.
I had to get fitted for my bike.
How'd that go?
Well, it looked like I'm going to be... you know what the Hummer looks like, right?
Right. Yeah.
You haven't seen it since we got it lettered. But the Hummer, is kind of up high.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like. I'm really up.
Ride on one of those 1920s bicycles with the wheels really big in front and tiny in the back.
Well, not quite that much, but...
I always thought those were pretty awesome. I don't
Yeah, but Sam riding it, I would...
As long as he has like a fedora on and shaves the rest of the beard, just gives the mustache.
Just a nice little handlebar situation.
Yeah. That's where it would.
You guys are cracking me up. So I'm hoping it doesn't rain. I mean, even if it rains, I'm still going to ride. It is. I know it's going to rain. I'm prepared.
It's a question of when it rains.
No, you're not riding the whole course with them, are you?
No, I'm going to go to the turnoffs because they're going to start with the swimming event first, I believe it is, then to the bicycle, and then they're going to finish up with the running. So I'm going to be basically starting at Ross's Landing, going to wherever they come out of the water, and then they're going to be going down Amnicola Highway.
Are you going to be going down Amnicola Highway?
Well, it may be part of the way.
not the whole way.
I got to ask if I needed a basket.
So Keon can ride with you?
Yeah.
No.
Or some frills.
No, it was for the O2 kit. That's like, no thank you.
Did they give you a bell?
No.
What about some tassels hanging off the handlebars?
That's as bad as my boys. We were talking about this the other night.
I'm saying, look, it has to be made special. You haven't ridden a bicycle in about a quarter of a century.
Yeah, that was the other thing. One of my boys asked me, "Are you going to have training wheels on this?" Like, really? Go to your room.
That's outstanding.
So, I want this to be fun, but I also want to show you jerks.
Yeah, well, hey, I will eat crow with the best of them. But
you will be.
Well, okay, well, I just hope you don't fall and skin your knee.
And then Jen, our general sales manager,
I'm sure she had some.
She was chirping in there almost as bad as you guys. But I tell you what, it's going to be fun. We're going to be down there broadcasting from 11 to 6 today throughout the afternoon. And tomorrow we will be on the bike making our way around.
You should have got like a sidecar.
It's too
on the bike.
They'll probably sleeping in because of coming back from Huntsville from the football game tonight.
God knows when we'll get back tonight, but it's what it is.
Yeah. So you've got the expo going on with the Chattanooga Waterfront Triathlon going on from noon to 6. But like I said, we'll be broadcasting from 11 to 6. And then tomorrow morning, we'll be on the air a little after 7 o'clock. Yes. Kieran, can you get up there early?
I mean, I'll be working at the other job, so
yeah, all right.
I'll already be awake.
He'll stroll in around 10 o'clock, I would imagine, and he'll be there for.
I don't know. I feel like if he strolled in at 10, he would just go home and go to bed. That's what I would do. I'd have to right after work.
See, with his other job, he's close to home as it is.
Yeah, he's actually drive further from my house to be here.
Yeah. And going down to Ross's Landing is further. Yeah,
the other job is literally 5 minutes away from my house. Yeah. So,
I have that kind of a job here, 3 minutes, but, it's not bad. Nick, you're the furthest.
100% I am. Yeah, but that's fine. That's fine. This is a lot better than Hickson.
He's coming from Sauda Daisy, Tennessee.
Saudi, by God, Daisy. If you ain't from Saudi, you ain't nobody.
Oh, boy.
So they say.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, Chattanooga Eagles are on the road tonight with the Huntsville Rockets. You can catch scoring updates and everything on Facebook. You go to Chattanooga Eagles.
You might even get to see my face. I might go live for a little bit at halftime.
Uh-oh.
Who knows?
That means it'll be a rant and a rave.
Yeah, usually towards the officials.
Yeah. So,
also Chattanooga FC tonight.
Yes.
If you're in a soccer mood.
At Finley Stadium.
That's a big game, too.
Mm-hmm.
I heard it's Georgia
Revolution.
Yeah. I saw the billboard when I was driving in. I was like, oh, they're at home tonight. Well, I can't go.
Yeah, so sports teams do advertise on billboards.
Yeah, look at that.
On Wednesday. So they just came off a win on Wednesday night.
Yeah.
We get to.
How are the women doing?
Atlanta Silverbacks. And the women are undefeated.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that.
They're doing fantastic.
At least we have one undefeated team in Chattanooga.
Yeah. And not to mention, I'm very happy, and we'll get to John Ward in just a second. And but I'm very happy that this sport is starting to take off in this city.
Yeah.
Soccer's a great sport, and I give it crap sometimes for the way they flop and everything, but I absolutely love it. It's called the beautiful game for a reason. It is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a beautiful sport to watch. It's very, as much as a sport can be, it's very aesthetically pleasing to watch on television.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, the stretcher again. Is it the same guy? I hope it's the same guy.
It's a different guy. But
so if you go down, you have to leave on a stretcher
in this game. But remember now, we got forearm shivers going off in this game, and side tackles where a dude flew like 10 feet.
In fairness, this is a pretty rough game by normal standards, not even soccer standards. So,
I mean, you've got people flying all over the place in this one. I'm surprised there haven't been more people hurt. They're going to run out of subs.
It's possible.
They're having more injuries than what you would see in a hockey match.
Well, yeah, and in soccer you only get 3 subs per game, even if it's for injury. So you're looking at Tanisha's already used 2, and it's the first half. It's the 42nd minute.
Well, I mean that does not bode well.
No, they're already losing.
All right, let's switch gears. Let's get off of that. Earlier this week, the broadcasting community and Tennessee Volunteer fans lost a good dear friend that came into your homes on television or wherever. True Southern gentleman. And the voice of John Ward was silenced. And for many, many years, he was almost like your uncle.
He's like my grandfather, man, growing up. I wasn't as blessed as many people to get to listen to John call games for a long time. He retired when I was 8 years old.
Yeah.
But I'll say this. I knew growing up when a Tennessee football game was on or Tennessee basketball game was on, we turned the TV volume down.
Mm-hmm.
And we turned the radio up so I could hear John Ward and Bill Anderson call a game. And John Ward, and I don't even think it's fair to say this because he did so much more. He painted a picture that I don't know that anybody else really could. You knew exactly what was going on. A story that he would always tell us. He had one of those little old sand timers in the press box with him. It was a 1-minute timer, and he would flip it. And every minute he would tell you the score, who had the ball, and where they were going. Because he wanted everyone to know, no matter if you just tuned in or if you'd been listening to the whole game, what the score was and what was going on. Painting, like I said, painting a picture is not even fair for what he would do. He captured
He was a storyteller.
He was, and he captured the emotion. I remember, again, like I said, I don't remember a ton, but I remember Arkansas in 1998 when Tennessee really had no business winning that football game at all. They got dominated the whole game, and Clint Sterner was under center, just running the clock out, tripped. And John Ward's call, he stumbles, he fumbles. And then, Tennessee gets it. And then at the very end of the game, when the game's over, John said, it was really simple, but it was like, it wasn't easy, but it happened. And so, guys like John Ward, they don't exist anymore.
Right.
At all. You don't have radio broadcasters that do this. And this is not a shot at guys like Bob Kessling at Tennessee, who I think does a great job. It's just now with social media and everything, and with the way TV is, it's almost impossible to sync up a radio and a TV anymore. Like that's impossible with the days of satellite and these new fiber optic cable, everything. They're never right. So you can't really just do that. And with John, it was perfect because that was still back in those analog TV days and with your radio, and so you would line up perfectly. And if not perfect, it was just like a half second off. Yeah. So it was when I heard that. I guess it was Wednesday night.
Mm-hmm.
That was tough little evening for me because I grew up listening to John, and even after he retired, still listened to his calls and all that. And he's the reason that I have the degree I do. And I had the pleasure of meeting him one time in Knoxville while I was a student, and at a Cracker Barrel in Farragut, and he was just there with his wife, and it took a lot of guts for me to actually just go walk up to him and bother an elderly gentleman. Just while he was eating, it looked like he had just gone to church. It was a Sunday afternoon. And, I went over to him and I said, Mr. Ward, I don't want to interrupt you, but I just wanted to let you know, and I know you've probably heard this 1,000 times, but
probably more.
Probably. But you're the reason why I'm getting the degree I'm getting. And he sat there a second and he looked and gathered his thoughts because he never said anything that before he thought about it, and he was consummate professional always, and looked at me and he teared up and he said, I do hear that, but it doesn't change the fact that every time I do, he was just like, it makes me feel like I did what I was supposed to do in my life. And, whatever you do, whether it be, and I know it's kind of silly to say this about a guy I met one time, but whatever you do in your life, try to have that kind of impact on people. Make it positive, because John Ward was more than just a broadcaster. John Ward was a philanthropist. As soon as he retired, he gave $1 million to the University of Tennessee, just out of his own pocket, just to give to the university, and gave it to the College of Communications. And guys like that, they don't come around. And you have very few of those guys, even in the SEC. I can think of only one, and that's Larry Munson at Georgia. A lot of people don't like Larry Munson because he was such a homer. But Larry had the same kind of passion and could paint the picture the same way. Those guys don't exist anymore. It's sad. You knew the day was coming. He was 88. I mean, it was coming. He had been sick. His wife died last year. So, that usually happens frequently in those situations. So it was a sad day for Vol Nation.
Let's take a listen at a clip here of John Ward, one of his many famous calls that he's had through his career.
This will be Manning. Back to throw. Across the middle. Pass complete. Ball down at the 35, to the 40, to the 45, to the 50, to the 45, to the 40, to the 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. What did he do? All he did was score. Joey Kent. Touchdown on play number 1. Peyton Manning. Joey Kent. This will be.
And that's just, one of the many calls. I mean, that was kind of a simplified call because of being a touchdown run and everything. But
those were my favorite of his, though. Man. When he got going and you get that ball at the 30 and he's like 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45, 40, 35, 30, 25, 20. Then he had this way of the people would be, the PAT team would be out on the field and he'd still be going 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And like, they're going to kick an extra point. And he's just out there still calling that play. I mean, that you don't have that anymore. I mean, he made it, and that was the same way with this play. I know the Tennessee synced it up with the video, but that was a great play. That was Peyton Manning to Joey Kent in 1995. Tennessee had not beaten Alabama in quite a while coming into that game, and that was first play of the game.
Yeah,
first play.
There's been a lot of announcers that we've grown up with. As kids. And I know, Keon, you lived in a different part of the country, and me, I grew up in Arkansas and then later, moving to the Northeast, and you've been pretty much a homer all your life.
Yeah, and even when I lived other places, I still listen to Tennessee things. So.
Right. Right. But, you mentioned about, the late, great John Ward and Larry Munson down at Georgia. I grew up with Bud Campbell and Paul Eels. And Paul, I got to know through the years because when I had done work at the ABC station in Little Rock back in the 80s, I got to know Paul. And Paul died here, I guess about 5-6 years ago now. Got killed in a car crash. Even though his thing was calling the hogs on football and basketball days and stuff, he always did a lot of giving back. In fact, the day that he got killed, he was returning back to Little Rock from Fayetteville, which is about 3.5 hours from a charity golf tournament. And a woman came across the other side of Interstate 40 and came over and hit him head on. And, Arkansas's voice was silenced as well. And, they have others that have stepped in to fill that void. But you know what? I'm sure, and I don't know who the current voice of the Vols are.
Bob Kessling.
Bob Kessling. It's not easy to step into the shoes of John Ward, much less Chuck over in Arkansas taking the place of Paul Eels, because the expectations that those announcers, they gave you that picture of how they painted the game if you couldn't be there, or even if you were there. And it's like, because of the view from the press box and everything, you have a little bit better of an advantage.
I mean, I still to this day, and again, I'm not going to take a shot at Bob Kessling because I think Bob Kessling has done a wonderful job.
Right.
From 1999 to now, he's done it for 20 years. He does a great job. And I still to this day when I go to Neyland Stadium, I take my Walkman. I'm dating myself there. I take my Walkman a Walkman headset, and I put on the ball game. I'm listening to the game on the radio while I'm watching the game. Right. And because those guys can paint such a picture. But, I was listening to some Knoxville guys this week, listening to what they were saying. And they had talked a couple of weeks ago about making a Mount Rushmore of Tennessee. Yeah. And they, for whatever reason, John Ward didn't click with them. But then they were talking about it, Thursday and Friday. And they said, I don't know how he's not the one guy that you have to have on there.
Right.
You say things like people you would put on there. I think obviously General Neyland. You would put John Ward, Pat Summitt, and then obviously you got that other spot that would probably go to Philip Fulmer. But John Ward was Tennessee for a lot of people for 30 years calling games from 1967 to 1998. Got to go out in a national championship season, which is perfect for him.
Right.
Came in the national championship season and left and won. And it's tough, but you're those days of seeing those type of announcers like a John Ward or Larry Munson switching sports like a Vin Scully. Those days are gone. You're not going to see those guys anymore. And it's no fault of the folks who are doing the job now, because it's not their fault. It's just, it's almost impossible to be like that anymore because of social media and technology and the way it is. You can't, people don't want that anymore, which that makes me sad too, because I would rather listen to a baseball game, especially on the radio, than watch it on TV. Football, a lot of times I'd rather listen to Tennessee on the radio and not even watch it on TV. Right. And, it's just, the
one thing, I've been in this business, career. It's not a hobby. I love every aspect of it. But, growing up, watching some of the old time announcers, usually with a little glass of scotch or whiskey there in front of them, even though it was illegal, but they still got away and did it. I can remember the time, and I'm not trying to draw a well here on my good friend who's no longer with us. Fran Fisher was the voice of Penn State Nittany Lions football for probably close to 50 years himself. And the game was like so much of a runaway. He was hitting the bottle a little bit more. And Joe Paterno's brother, George, was the color analysis guy on the broadcast for many years. George would drive over from New Jersey to be there for the games. And George had to take over doing the play-by-play because Fran was so snookered. Oh, man. And then eventually, after that season was over with, and Steve Jones, another good friend of mine, took over and has been doing Penn State football ever since. But it's like, when I first got started in the business and was doing ball games, even at a young age, it was like you'd go over and look to see what these old timers were doing, how their style was, to kind of build your own little repertoire of style.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's like you just don't always add the alcohol factor.
I heard Bob Kessling was interviewed yesterday, and
Traffic, news, and information. Nuga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
The Cleveland Police Department says a 2-year-old boy was hit by a dark-colored truck which then drove away. That 2-year-old was whisked to the hospital where he's recovering well. The police say it started when a mother of 3 was crossing the street with her kids, including a 2-year-old in a stroller. She said she turned her back for just a second when her 2-year-old got out of the stroller and walked back into the street. That's when he was hit by the driver. Reports say the driver stopped for just a moment and then sped away. 3 people confirmed dead in McMinn County after a car slammed into a train. McMinn County deputies confirmed that a train and a car collided on Highway 11 late Thursday. Sheriff Joe Guy told the press it happened just north of Calhoun. Hamilton County School Board voted 8-1 to bring in an outside consulting group to tackle the issue of diversity and equity in county schools. The only dissenting vote came from Rhonda Thurman, who says they're already working on diversity and equity. Russell Stroud, Nuga Radio News Talk 92.7 Action News now.
Chattanooga Morning News with Russ and Val. Weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m. on Nuga Radio 92.7 FM.
Chattanooga weather. Areas of fog will sort out your Saturday. Otherwise, very warm and humid for the afternoon. Highs into the upper 80s, along with a few widely scattered late-day showers and storms. Tonight, any showers quickly diminishing. Lows 70 to 72. For Sunday and Monday, a few isolated afternoon showers and storms. Highs near 90. For lunch or dinner, come to Guthrie's, home of the original golden fried delicious chicken finger with their special world-famous sauce. Open daily locations in Trenton, Signal Mountain, and Ringgold. Go get Guthrie's. It's always good. And I'm Sourcine 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Hoare.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
Hey, Karen, you need me for that 1 o'clock?
Yes, Cheese, please. Karen, did you get the quarterlies done? Yep, they're filed in the cabinet.
Karen, can you describe the initiatives to the new hire? Thanks.
Oh, sure. Full-bodied, some floral notes, maybe a hint of dark chocolate.
Am I in the right department?
Got wine on the mind? Come unwind at Virgola. Italian wine, oysters, caviar, cheeses, and more. Perfect after work or a romantic date night. Virgola Italian Wine Bar, 608 Georgia Avenue.
Now, Rick wants you to buy on U.S. Gold American coins. Are you tired of making 1% on your investments with the banks, even 2 or 3% at best? Now, Rick wants you to buy on U.S. Gold American coins.
Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds, Brainerd Road.
Wow, Triumph Spitfire. I haven't seen one of those in ages. Boy, is it gorgeous.
Thanks. It was my grandfather's. Drives like a dream.
Where do you go to keep it up?
Rivermont Pure. I never thought I'd find a place, but they specialize in older and European cars. They get the hard-to-find parts and treat me right every time.
Rivermont Pure?
Yeah, they're on Hickson Pike across from Lupton Drive. I found them online at rivermontpureservice.com.
Rivermont Pure, import or domestic. If it rolls, they work it.
You know, this isn't working.
What?
I've always wanted to see Italy.
Oh, let me call Lisa.
With 20 years in the travel industry, Lisa Tanner and Travel Makers can make any dream destination come true. Think of Lisa as your own 24/7 travel concierge. Pick a place and she'll customize every detail. Go to lisatannertravel.com to plan your next travel experience.
Now this is incredible. Think Lisa can get us a layover in Greece?
Travel Makers, we sell the world.
Broadcasting live to over 1 million souls in Chattanooga, the Tennessee Valley, and beyond on frequency modulation 92.7. Sean Hannity, 25,000 watts on digital FM 95.3 HD4. CBS Radio News. NASCAR, Bloomberg Markets, David Toulis, streaming strong at NugaRadio.com. Live on YouTube and Facebook. Nuga Radio, News Talk 92.7. Chattanooga Radio.
Hello. Charge! Get back there, you dang Yankee! Great horny toads, I'm up north. Gotta burn my boots. They touched Yankee soil. Lay down your arm.
WPLZ HD4 Ottawa, W224AZ Chattanooga.
Serving Chattanooga.
Broadcasting live from the center of the universe, the Tennessee Valley's most listened to news talk station.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by ZipRecruiter.
I'm Peter King. Lawmakers have been trying to visit shelters that are housing migrant children who were separated from their families or tried crossing the border on their own. California Democratic Senator Kamala Harris says despite the president's reversal of the separation policy,
let's not be fooled. The reality is that this administration brought it upon itself to create a zero-tolerance policy while vilifying a group of people who have traveled through countries seeking asylum, fleeing murder capitals of the world.
The challenge now is figuring out what's next. CBS's Maria Villarreal in El Paso.
Right now, this is all about space. Yes, immigration, customs enforcement can keep these families together. But the question is, where do you put them? We do know that ICE recently put out a post asking for about 15,000 beds to house these families. We know that the Pentagon has responded saying they have room for up to 20,000 immigrants at military bases at both here in Texas as well as in Arkansas.
In Pittsburgh, more protests last night after the shooting death of a black teenager as he ran from a traffic stop.
They murdered him for nothing. 3 shots to the back for nothing. Like, that boy didn't do nothing wrong.
Police say they arrested 4 people. Europe has retaliated for U.S. tariffs with its own surcharges on American products like peanut butter, bourbon, and motorcycles. Donald Trump has upped the ante. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
The president was quite unhappy about the official imposition of these tariffs. He is now threatening a 20% tariff on all European cars coming into the United States.
Some American families may be close to bringing home the remains of loved ones missing in action during the Korean War. CBS's Don Kirk is in Seoul.
The U.S. command in Korea is awaiting word on the return of the remains of at least 200 American soldiers missing from the Korean War. Seoul's Yonhap news agency quotes a South Korean official saying the U.S. is sending 215 caskets to retrieve them from the North Koreans at the truce village of Panmunjom. A U.S. spokesman told me an honor guard would salute them as they crossed the north-south line.
In Saudi Arabia, tomorrow is the day many women have been awaiting. They finally get the right to drive, but reporter Dale Gadlack says it's just a small piece of the Saudi puzzle for women's rights.
9 out of 17 women activists remain jailed, dubbed as traitors. Activists say that despite easing some Saudi social restrictions on women, moves towards democracy are still far off.
The government says it's issued hundreds of licenses already. This is CBS News.
ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. ZipRecruiter's technology finds qualified candidates for businesses of all sizes. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Summer's here, so is grilling season, and red, white, and blue savings at the Home Depot with a NextGrill 4-burner gas grill. A special buy at just $199, $70 off. This top-rated stainless steel grill cooks food evenly, and with the extra side burner, that'll cover a lot of burgers, hot dogs, steaks, and weekends. Get red, white, and blue savings now on a NextGrill 4-burner gas grill. Just $199, only at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing, while supplies last.
Hi, Tom Bodette. Motel 6 is still the place to save money as you travel down the highway, or for you Californians, the freeway. Whether you're on a cross-country trek on Interstate 10 or a fun jaunt up State Route 1, aka the 10 or the PCH, there's probably one of our more than 1,400 locations right down the road. Or for Californians, just over the hill. But it's rush hour, so I'd take the canyon. I'm Tom Bodette from Motel 6, and we'll leave the light on for you.
Scores of military members have landed in eastern Kentucky, but as CBS's Jim Krasula tells us, it's far from being an invasion.
Some 200 National Guard and Army Reserve troops with a medical background are taking part in what's called Operation Bobcat. It's a training mission in out-of-the-way places of Appalachia, like eastern Kentucky.
There may not be a lot of physicians, optometrists, and dentists in the local area, so we bring in our own.
Lieutenant Colonel Amy Mundell says the service members are providing free medical, optical, and dental care to people who might not otherwise have access to it. Jim Krasula, CBS News.
There's a reason why they call Florida the Sunshine State, and the blazing sun is especially hot in the summer. That's why 2 counties and a healthcare provider have put sunscreen stations in 15 Orlando area parks, along with warnings that it can take as little as 15 minutes for skin damage to occur. I'm Peter King, CBS News.
Guess what? Right now,
Chattanooga Morning News with Russ and Val. Weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m. on Nooga Radio, 92.7 FM.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
The Cleveland Police Department says a 2-year-old boy was hit by a dark-colored truck, which then drove away. That 2-year-old was whisked to the hospital where he's recovering well. The police say it started when a mother of 3 was crossing the street with her kids, including a 2-year-old in a stroller. She said she turned her back for just a second when her 2-year-old got out of the stroller and walked back into the street. That's when he was hit by the driver. Reports say the driver stopped for just a moment and then sped away. 3 people confirmed dead in McMinn County after a car slammed into a train. McMinn County deputies confirmed that a train and a car collided on Highway 11 late Thursday. Sheriff Joe Guy told the press it happened just north of Calhoun. Hamilton County School Board voted 8-1 to bring in an outside consulting group to tackle the issue of diversity and equity in county schools. The only dissenting vote came from Rhonda Thurman, who says they're already working on diversity and equity. Russell Stroud, Nooga Radio News Talk 92.7 Action News now.
Nooga Radio 92.7. Chattanooga weather.
Areas of fog will sort out your Saturday. Otherwise, very warm and humid for the afternoon. Highs into the upper 80s, along with a few widely scattered late-day showers and storms. Tonight, any showers quickly diminishing. Lows 70 to 72. For Sunday and Monday, a few isolated afternoon showers and storms. Highs near 90. For lunch or dinner, come to Guthrie's, home of the original golden fried delicious chicken finger with their special world-famous sauce. Open daily locations in Trenton, Signal Mountain, and Ringgold. Go get Guthrie's. It's always good. And I'm Swartine 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Hoare.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
We just started a family and we're already planning for the future. Michael Levy has helped pave the way to keep our financial future on track. He's local, he knows us, and cares about what's important to us. Don't put your future on hold. Call Michael Levy, 779-7755.
Gold, 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 and more gold. And always buy American. At Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds, you'll always get better rates than the banks. We'll convert your silver, diamonds, cash into gold, gold, gold. Precious American gold. Certified by the federal government. Buy American. Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds. 499-9162. Call 499-9162. And visit Rick at 5301 Brainerd Road, Chattanooga. Gold, 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 and more gold.
Nuga Radio. Roar into Talladega.
Hello? Who am I speaking with? Eric, you're our winner. Really?
You'll receive tickets for all 3 races between the Camping World Truck Series, Xfinity Series, and the Monster Energy Cup races.
Holy cow.
In addition, you'll receive a 2-night stay at the Microtel Hotel and restaurant accommodations at 2 area restaurants.
Nuga Radio.
Roar into Talladega.
Nuga Radio.
92.7.
Your NASCAR racing station. Nuga Radio 92.7 FM.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
It's the moment you've been waiting for. Sam Jordan's Nuga Radio 92.7 Sports now.
Sam usually joins. That's the most abrupt thing.
It's like, let's just end the bumper.
Yeah, no, it kills me every single time because I'm like looking at it. Did it crash? Did it go down? Because then that means that I'm in free fall and I'm going to be talking for the next hour with no breaks, which may or may not have happened earlier this week.
Fun stuff.
Yeah, no, it's not fun at all, but it turned out okay this time.
Yeah,
for once.
Well,
but we were talking about John Ward.
Yeah,
because he's a legend. And I didn't listen to much John Ward before. I'm not from here,
right.
And so I missed out. But I did listen to him this week. Listen to some of the games as we found out. Yeah, whole games of Tennessee.
Yeah, just on YouTube. Just like let's just watch a 1978 football game from beginning to end. I mean, first off, that's awesome, and kudos to whoever had the time to put that up on YouTube. 1, find the footage that you probably had to like tape yourself, and then 2, to sync it up with the radio broadcast like that with on probably a cassette tape that you taped it from radio if it was that old. I mean, kudos to those people who have the time to do that.
Yeah,
and the means, but
and kudos to me who has the time to watch it for whatever reason.
Yeah, exactly. And and no, that's the sad part is I'm sitting here and like I've watched this one, you know. But it's honestly, it's not even because of the game. It's just because they get to listen to, John Ward. We talked about all of his calls.
Yeah.
For football. But, man, he might have, as good as he was at football, he might have been even better at basketball. And
that's incredible already. One of the things I like about him is his simplicity. You try to paint a picture when you do play-by-play in the limited amount of play-by-play that I've done in my life to this point. And I think a lot of times you have the temptation to sort of over-describe in an attempt to paint that picture. And he just said just what needed to be said.
Yeah, it's never football. I think people say football is the easiest to do play-by-play. I disagree. I think baseball is probably the easiest to do play-by-play.
I had trouble with baseball for whatever reason.
I've never had trouble with baseball just because I can sit there and talk to brick wall if I wanted to about anything, so I can go off on tangents, which you have to do in baseball, or you're going to lose your audience.
I'm not a rambler.
And Vin Scully was the best at that for baseball because, 1, he did it by himself. Kudos to be able to do baseball by yourself. That's impressive.
It feels impossible.
And the stories he would just tell. Of course, he had been around forever, so he had stories to tell, but unbelievable what Vin Scully was able to do with baseball. But when it came to John Ward, John Ward, and I said a little bit, is kind of like a grandfather to a lot of people with Tennessee because you just grew up and you spent more time with him sometimes than you did with your own grandfather. You listen to him every Saturday, and during the basketball season, you listen to him twice a week, and he became a family member. I know to a lot of people this sounds ridiculously silly.
Not to a lot of people from here. And even if you're not from here, like Sam was saying, there's somebody somewhere that you grew up with that you know.
And that's the thing. I was talking to one of my buddies I went to college with, who lives and is from Philadelphia area. He said, this is tough. Obviously, he never really grew up listening to John Ward because he lived up there, wasn't a Tennessee fan until he went to college. They had the same thing with Harry Callis in Philadelphia, longtime Phillies broadcaster. And when he passed away, it was the same kind of thing. And, I've had it once with Skip Carey. When Skip Carey passed away, longtime Braves broadcaster. But I guess for me, with Tennessee meaning as much as it does to me and my entire family, 4-1. Belgium just takes a 4-1 lead over.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt you, but that was a pretty amazing goal.
I watched it in the reflection on the mirror or the window. But listening, I guess for me it's just different with John Ward because I'm so passionate about UT Sports, and John Ward was the face of UT Sports, and so I don't want to just ramble about John. I feel like John deserves time. You sometimes you don't appreciate things until they're gone, and obviously John hadn't called a game in 20 years, and so we've been able to appreciate him that way because how hard it is to do that job. We know how hard it is to call football games.
Absolutely.
Basketball's even harder, in my opinion.
Yeah, I've done some basketball too. Basketball's rough. I did basketball by myself. I got okay at it, but it's not easy.
This job right here, this is easy.
Yeah, no,
sitting here in the studio talking about sports and about whatever we want to, really.
And if you tune into the Facebook stream, it never turns off. We turn off the mics for the breaks, but we keep talking.
And we still talk about sports.
We don't have anything else to talk about.
Or apparently we talk too much about wanting chairs. Which, whatever. But beggars can't be choosers, I guess.
That's what it is.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. But for John's sake, I'll put it one last thing. And John, to most people, I listen to a lot of Knoxville radio, like I said this week, just to listen to some tributes to him. There was one show in Knoxville on a radio station that spent their entire 3-hour show. They cleared the entire show from 3 to 6 p.m. Listen to the podcast. They cleared their entire programming that day. No guests, no nothing, and just had people call in and tell their stories about John Ward. You can't do that about a lot of people. You can't clear a 3-hour block of radio just to have people call in and talk about somebody.
Right. It's the sign that you meant a lot to somebody. Because you do. Someone invites you into their home, and they do it every day for years. That says something about you. If that's something that happens.
Yeah, you don't get that with announcers anymore. And I know I've said that already, but you don't have those guys anymore. I would listen to John Ward read a phone book. Okay, that's how good he was.
He has one of those voices, and he has that delivery. Like he just knew how to do it. For me, it was baseball. I didn't get into college sports really until I got to be about high school age. But I listened to the Houston Astros a lot when I was living in San Antonio, and it was Milo Hamilton.
Yeah,
and he's amazing. And I was when the station stopped airing Astros games and they switched over to the Rangers. Like I was incredibly sad.
Yeah.
Because it was something that I looked forward to every day. I came home to my radio every single day during the summer, which, I'm a kid that grew up with like the internet and a bunch of other things to choose, and I still chose Milo Hamilton. That's a big deal.
I feel the same way. I do the same thing with baseball now. I struggle. Like if I'm driving home and the Braves are playing, I'm gonna put it on. I'm gonna listen. But when I get home, chances of me turning it on the TV are a lot slimmer than me turning it on the radio. Because baseball is one of those sports on the radio. It's just better.
Yeah, it's just magical on the radio.
It's better.
I don't know why.
Because you hear them announcing and telling stories, and you hear the crack of the bat, and then it's just like they don't even have to paint the picture. The sounds and the ambiance paint the picture, and they're just there telling you stories about it. And so Football obviously is a little bit different. Basketball's definitely different. But sad week. Like I said, it hit me pretty hard. I had a rough Wednesday night. Literally stayed up way too late just watching old John Ward videos. And I'm sure Tennessee's going to do some awesome things this football season for him. He was at a game last year. I believe it was the Vanderbilt game. It was the last game of the year. And they honored him before the game. So kudos to Tennessee to be able to do that before he did pass away.
Yeah, I mean, to be able to have the opportunity to do that, it's one of those things where you're like, where it's like your actual family members, where you want to be able to have that chance to say goodbye, and they got that opportunity. So thank goodness for that.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you want. You want a chance in these situations to be able to give him that one last standing ovation that he deserves in front of 100,000 people, and he got it. And it couldn't have happened to a better person. Like I said, I've only met him one time, but from everything you ever hear from anybody that knew him, he meant a lot to everybody. Whether you got to spend 45 minutes with him or you spent 30 years with him, it was just one of those guys.
Right, and that. And just we live in a world that's more digital, so I feel very safe in saying there are no more John Wards.
No, your John Wards, your Larry Munsons, your Vin Scullys, your Harry Callises, your Skip Careys, those guys are long gone, and it's not a shot at any of the guys that do it now. I mean, that includes us. We do it at a small level compared, obviously to the guys that do it for those high level sports, but it's no shot to those guys. It's not their fault. It's just the world we live in, which, I guess us old souls don't really like too much.
It has its own advantages, the way we do it now, but you do feel a little bit of heart missing. And I don't know why. I don't know where, how you go back about finding it again, if it's possible to ever find it again, but it's not there.
I don't think you can. I mean, you obviously have your guys that are still really good at the top of their game, guys like Gus Johnson. We talked off the air about Gus. Gus is one of the all-time greats, in my opinion. But he does it on TV, which, again, not a shot at Gus Johnson, but it's a lot easier.
Yeah, I mean, like 90% of the picture's already painted for you.
Yeah, but Gus does do a good job of painting a picture, even on TV, going a little bit more in depth, but. I didn't want to spend the whole hour on John Ward, but I thought it was especially in this area, people my age and older definitely grew up and spent their Saturdays with John, and he's going to be missed. And we'll move on. Obviously, go ahead and move on to some other things. We got a lot to cover with the NBA draft and then what's going on in the World Cup as well. But just wanted to have a little bit of remembrance for John Ward. But we'll move on.
Yeah.
NBA.
I was just looking forward to hearing you talk about this, because I didn't cover John Ward very much on my show, because I didn't feel like it was appropriate. I mean, not growing up with him, I wouldn't have been able to do it the justice. So yeah, that's why I wanted this to go as long as it did. Just get it all out.
Yeah. Let me have my morning session, and then we'll move on. And I'm sure once football season rolls around, as we get closer, we'll play some more John Ward clips and do some more things. Because guys like that need to live on, and I don't think it even needed for him to pass away for us to should just play those kind of clips. Those kind of announcements, like that one on play number 1, that could be like a bumper, that could be your intro to a show. I mean, those kind of things. I know that's probably going to get you in trouble with the Vol Network if you start doing that kind of stuff, but those are the kind of things. But I do want to talk to you about the draft, because
let's do it. Let's shift the gears here and jump on over to the NBA draft, because we had a whale of a time Thursday night.
We did. That was actually really fun.
I lost my mind at the end of the show. You could probably go back.
You can definitely on YouTube. I did share it if you're friends with me on Facebook. I definitely did share it with Keon the whole show, because one, I told him The whole time, I told him.
Yeah, no, I didn't believe you. I didn't believe you. I don't know. Look, I don't know. Okay, Atlanta sports, they find a way to disappoint you in new and increasingly cruel ways over and over again. But for this time, I thought, look, you've got the third pick, and even the Wizards in the past have been like, okay, we have the third pick. Who's the third best guy? Let's just take that guy. We have Bradley Beal, we have Otto Porter, and it's okay.
In all fairness, the Hawks did draft the third best guy. They just traded him.
That's true. Like, look, if you get Doncic, that's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. You have a guy who's capable of playing multiple positions, and you're a team with multiple needs. I don't see how to lose here.
Let's trade him for a point guard.
Let's trade him for a point guard who's small and undersized. But okay, so I have some upside talk about Trae Young and like what they might have been thinking.
Well, I think Trae again, and I do not mean any of this is a bash on Trae Young, because I think Trae Young is a great player. I just think that he does have some problems when it comes to the fact that he just kind of wears out easy. I mean, you saw it when he had to carry the team and with Oklahoma, because there wasn't a whole lot else. You know,
he's got a small frame. Now, part of the thing with him and being at Oklahoma, his teammates get blamed for being bad.
Yeah.
And I think that's a little bit overstated. That was a decent team. Obviously, they're not great, but that was a decent team that he had. But Trae Young has, I had to look this up last night, he has the highest usage rate of any player since they started keeping that stat for college ever.
Well, he was also the only player to ever lead the NCAA in points per game and assists per game.
And yeah, and he's more of a volume scorer. But the points per game thing is that he just takes a lot of shots, more than anybody else on his team.
And that really blows my mind that he's able to get as many assists as he does.
Yeah.
With as many shots as he takes.
But here's the thing with the assists. He goes for, like, it's sort of like when I talk about Russell Westbrook and all the things that I hate about Russell Westbrook that make me sound like a complete hater, even though I'm not, is one of the things is that Russell Westbrook goes hunting for assists and he goes hunting for rebounds. Trae Young doesn't go hunting for rebounds, but he definitely goes hunting for assists. And so that was one of the reasons why I think his assist numbers were so high. It's not that he can't pass the ball. It's that when Trae Young gets into the zone of Trae Young, he's shooting the ball. Nobody else is shooting the ball. And it's hard if you're his teammate to get into a rhythm the same way that we see Paul George struggle to get into a rhythm with Westbrook.
You won't have to see that much longer.
Yeah, no, because he's not going to stay there, even though actually Paul George and Russell Westbrook have a tremendously good relationship for whatever reason off the court. So, I don't know.
It's impressive that anybody has a good relationship with Russell Westbrook when it comes to basketball.
Yeah.
He's got to be the worst player to play with.
He's an incredibly bad teammate, and also he looks like he might yell at you at any second. Like, if anger had a face, it would be Russell Westbrook's face.
I don't know. I think it might be LeBron's face at the end of game one.
That was desperation, and I think
sadness.
Yeah, a lot of heartbreak. Just a ton of heartbreak. But I look at Trae Young and I go, Trae Young's got all of these skills and qualities. Did Atlanta screw up the draft royally, chasing down Trae Young? I think they wanted him all along.
Well, they just take him.
Yeah, I think that they were like, look, let's get the extra pick since we're gonna like, now the fact that you didn't get it, you know, like you got a conditional pick is just that's dumb. But yeah, they wanted the extra pick. The GM of the Hawks now is Travis Schlenk, who was the assistant GM to Bob Myers over in Golden State, and they drafted Steph. And so Travis is probably looking at Trae Young and going, I see another Steph.
Well, I mean, I can see that too. I mean, Trae Young has that ability to be a Steph Curry type player. My problem with Trae Young is the sample size is so small. And I know we get it with all these guys being one and dones. Steph Curry, you saw it for 3 years at Davidson. And I know it was at Davidson, but you saw consistency. Trae Young was the most inconsistent player in college basketball last year that was worth a damn.
Yeah, he wasn't until he was. He was great until he couldn't hit anything. Yeah.
He couldn't hit water falling out of a boat at some points in the season. And I know he was probably exhausted because he did take a ton of shots. Sometimes just pass the ball, man.
Yeah, I don't think you have to take all of those shots. He moved the ball within the offense. He didn't really at times. Now, the thing that I worry about with Trae Young is that when you're comparing him to Steph is surprisingly good at finishing around the basket.
Yeah, he is.
LeBron is number one at finishing around the basket for a non-big man, and the next best person is Steph, which is shocking when you consider how many people are bigger than him.
Yeah.
Trae Young is terrible at finishing around the basket. And like you would expect that. So to compare him to Steph is quite a bit unfair because
putting a lot of pressure on that kid.
Right. It puts him in a position where he's going to have to find a way to score, and Steph is able to do it in a large variety of ways. Trae simply can't. He just doesn't have that skill set. And I also think Steph has better handles than him too. I mean, it's not that big a gap, but it's
Steph
there.
might be the best ball handler.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kyrie is the best ball handler,
true.
But Steph's right there.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think the Hawks, they could have messed it up worse, I guess. I mean, I don't really know how, but they could have. If I'm the Hawks and you want a point guard, then obviously Trae Young's your guy. I guess he could play. He might end up playing off guard, but he's too small probably.
Traffic, news, and information. Nuga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
The Cleveland Police Department says a 2-year-old boy was hit by a dark-colored truck, which then drove away. That 2-year-old was whisked to the hospital where he's recovering well. The police say it started when a mother of 3 was crossing the street with her kids, including a 2-year-old in a stroller. She said she turned her back for just a second when her 2-year-old got out of the stroller and walked back into the street. That's when he was hit by the driver. Reports say the driver stopped for just a moment and then sped away. 3 people confirmed dead in McMinn County after a car slammed into a train. McMinn County deputies confirmed that a train and a car collided on Highway 11 late Thursday. Sheriff Joe Guy told the press it happened just north of Calhoun. Hamilton County School Board voted 8-1 to bring in an outside consulting group to tackle the issue of diversity and equity in county schools. The only dissenting vote came from Rhonda Thurman, who says they're already working on diversity and equity. Russell Stroud, Nuga Radio News Talk 92.7 Action News now.
Chattanooga Morning News with Russ and Val. Weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m. on Nuga Radio 92.7 FM.
Chattanooga weather.
Areas of fog will start out your Saturday, otherwise very warm and humid for the afternoon. Highs into the upper 80s, along with a few widely scattered late day showers and storms. Tonight, any showers quickly diminishing, lows 70 to 72. For Sunday and Monday, a few isolated afternoon showers and storms, highs near 90. For lunch or dinner, come to Guthrie's, home of the original golden fried delicious chicken finger with their special world famous sauce. Open daily, locations in Trenton, Signal Mountain, and Ringgold. Go get Guthrie's, it's always good. And I'm Source 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Hoare.
Nuga Radio 92.7.
I got my business up and running, and it's already expanding. I got lucky. Lucky because I found Signal Voice and Data. Signal Voice and Data can incorporate all of my business information sharing and communications seamlessly, keep my costs down, and let me work more productively with endless connectivity no matter where I might be. That's called working smart, not hard. Go to signalvoicetn.com and bring the future of communication to your business today. signalvoicetn.com.
Hey, dude, check this out. Have you ever seen one so big? Whoa, look at the size of that.
This little itty-bitty one.
Wow, that's really small. They have them big, small, and everything in between. You'll always find the biggest variety of knives at the knife shop at Frost Cutlery in Ottawa. We're talking about over 40 brands of knives, including Benchmade, WR Case & Sons, Booker, and all the Frost Cutlery brands. Now, Sam, you've been to the cutlery shop. Is it amazing?
Spectacular.
The knife shop
Shop at Frost Cutlery in Ottawa. They have knives, swords, kitchen knives, ammo, and reloading supplies, plus survival gear.
It's the Knife Shop at Frost Cutlery. They're open 7 days a week. Hey, girls, you're going to love this. We're going to the Knife Shop.
Hey, let's not tell them they have ammo and loading supplies.
The Knife Shop at Frost Cutlery open 7 days a week. You'll always find the biggest variety of knives. You're going to love the Knife Shop at Frost Cutlery in Ottawa. The Knife Shop.
And tell them David Toulis sent you.
Do you hear that? That, my friend, is not what you're thinking. That is the new 2018 Indian Chieftain Dark Horse. Yeah, Indian. Indian motorcycle is more than a bike. It's an experience, an American icon. And Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga is the only place you'll find their new 2018 line. Are you ready to ride? Join the club. Go to Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga. Just look for the sign, 153 and Amnicola. Indian Motorcycle, the true American original.
Hey, Karen, you need me for that 1 o'clock?
Yes, Cheese, please. Karen, did you get the quarterlies done? Yep, they're filed in the cabinet. Cabinet.
Karen, can you describe the initiatives to the new hire? Thanks.
Oh, sure. Full-bodied, some floral notes, maybe a hint of dark chocolate.
Am I in the right department?
Got wine on the mind? Come unwind at Virgola. Italian wine, oysters, caviar, cheeses, and more. Perfect after work or a romantic date night. Virgola Italian Wine Bar, 608 Georgia Avenue.
Chattanooga Paint and Decorating would like to remind you it's so hot out there. And guess what? Your deck is taking a beating. It's probably starting to show wear. If you're hosting Friends for the 4th, get your deck entertainment ready with a fresh coat of stain and protect it from heat, sun, and rain with a quality sealant. If you want to get to work, Chattanooga Paint and Decorating want to help you. For exterior paint, stains, sealants, and supplies, stop by Chattanooga Paint and Decorating today on Hicks and Pike across from Valvoline or online at ChattanoogaPaint.com.
Nuga Radio. Are you brain dead? Still voting for pathetic liberals? Take 3 hours of Sean Hannity from 3 to 6.
Nuga Radio.
Then call us in the morning between 9 and 11.
92.7
Nuga Radio. It's the moment you've been waiting for. Sam Jordan's Nuga Radio. 92.7 Sports. Now.
There's our intro.
And then our abrupt bumper ending. But yeah, that's how things go around here.
Yeah, that's on me. I got to work on getting a bumper. But we'll see.
I mean, in fairness to you, I mean, it's not just you. We are still working out some bugs here. I have a bumper. I haven't heard it in weeks, so I don't know. I've forgotten what it sounds like.
Yeah, well, that's fair.
I was really happy about it too. I made it myself. I was so proud. You know, I got a guy to voice it over.
Yeah, it's a good bumper though.
Yeah, I like it a lot. But
yeah,
you know.
Yeah, I don't know. I might get some Jeremy Pruitt clips and make Jeremy Pruitt my
just
bumper.
make Jeremy Pruitt with the bumper.
Just say "aight" over and over again, and like maybe some cornbread quotes.
Yeah, interviewing Jeremy Pruitt has to be just absolutely zero fun.
I don't know, man. It makes me happy that we have just a Southern boy coaching football. He was up there talking. I still have to work on my Jeremy Pruitt impression. I'll get it eventually. But he was up there talking. They were asking him questions, and somehow he got on a tangent about cornbread. And I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure. He goes, "I'm Jeremy." He didn't say I'm Jeremy Pruitt. He's like, "I love cornbread. Cornbread. If you have somebody who can make cornbread," and of course he talks like that, right? Like he's got that slow Northern Alabama accent. Love Jeremy Pruitt, man. I love him. He might not win a game, and that's fine, but I absolutely love the guy.
You know that's not fine. And my favorite coach in the SEC is still and always will be as long as he's here at Orgeron. Yeah, because he sounds like if Cookie Monster were from Louisiana.
Or if Cookie Monster was drunk a lot of Red Bull.
Which he does.
Yeah, so like when he was at Tennessee, so he was at Tennessee for 1 year as defensive line coach under Lane Kiffin. He did some weird stuff, man. And it's not like, it wasn't like, obviously, like not inappropriate things or anything like that. It was just, he's just a weird dude. He is just a weird dude. And love him to death, though. Like, I went to a couple of practices, watched him coach. The man knows football. Don't think he's that great of a head football coach.
Yeah, there's some guys
he's a good football coach.
Yeah, there's some guys that understand the game, but in terms of being the head coach, they just don't have it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's him or not. Time will tell. But he's definitely the right coach for LSU.
Yeah, until they don't win, and then
right.
Yeah, because I've noticed this about LSU. Those drunk Cajuns, they want their football team to win.
Yeah, they like being good.
They fired a 10-win a year coach. So
that tells you everything you need to know. They don't take losing, and Ed Orgeron by being one of them, that will buy him some time, but it's not going to buy him enough time.
My God, did they not love that when they hired him? I mean, they ate that up like it was gumbo.
That's the reason why he's the perfect coach for them. Now, like I said, time will tell whether or not he stays there. In terms of the hire,
he might not make it through the year.
It's very possible. And he hasn't recruited particularly well either.
It's unbelievable to me. How do you not recruit Louisiana?
No,
you are in Louisiana. How do you not recruit?
You're in Louisiana, which means you get all that Louisiana talent, and then you get all of that East Texas talent. How is it possible that you come away?
And you can get that Alabama talent too. You're right there too.
No, it's something's wrong over there. So we'll see how long the Ed Orgeron experiment lasts. But he's got to be the best interview just because you can't understand anything he's saying. Yeah. How can you ask a follow-up question to Ed Orgeron? How did you get grumbled at you?
How did you get quotes from Ed Orgeron to put in your story?
Honestly, I feel like you just hear him grumble and you type what you think a coach would say. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to run the ball a lot because we don't have a quarterback. I imagine that's what he said.
I'll tell you the best interview I ever had in the SEC was when I was at Tennessee, and he wasn't the best for Tennessee, but Derek Dooley was an outstanding interview.
Well, he was on some podcast like a year and a half ago. He's still interesting.
Just listening to that man talk, and I'm just happy he's back in the SEC, and I hope he does well. I really do. I hope he does well at Missouri as offensive coordinator. He's never called plays before, ever in his life. So we'll see how that goes.
Look, if you're Missouri, you got to try something.
The thing is, they fired their offensive coordinator. Their offense wasn't a problem.
Yeah, their defense was awful. It was a sieve. There's nothing between their defense and the end zone.
It was some Swiss cheese, maybe.
Yeah, everybody could score on them. You knew you had a chance to beat Missouri, no matter who you were. I watched the bowl game with Missouri and Texas. Most fun I ever had in my life. Texas came from behind and won it because I was like, no, their defense isn't going to hold.
Yeah, no, their defense ain't going to stop nobody.
Their defense stopped Texas for exactly one quarter. And you knew it was an outlier because there's some passes that got dropped, passes that were overthrown. Yeah, no.
To be fair, Tennessee didn't score a lot of points, but they were also being coached by an absolute moron. So
yeah, no.
There was that.
That'll always hamper you.
Yeah.
So Colin Sexton and the NBA draft before we.
Well, hey, but at least we went back to SEC. So Colin Sexton, Alabama.
Yeah, Alabama.
Looks like he's got a bird on his head.
A bird's nest on his head. I'm also going for that look, so we'll see.
Yeah, but are you?
My hair's shorter. No.
Okay, I didn't think you were going full on. Well, 1980s, really tall hair.
The nature of black hair is that it wants to defy gravity, and so it has to get heavy enough to start to come back down. I'd really like locks, so it needed to get heavy enough to start to come down. Yeah. Otherwise, it'll just grow up, and yeah.
Yeah, well, mine just curls, so I can't have long hair. Otherwise, I look like a skater from 1995. So
just lost in time.
Yeah,
but Colin Sexton, the bird's nest on his head. But what's interesting about Colin Sexton is his speed. He is fast. One of the fastest guards, if not the fastest guard in this draft. And the Cavaliers drafted him. They're trying to do everything in an attempt to appease LeBron James. There are rumors out there that they tried to bring in Kawhi Leonard. They tried to trade for Kawhi. A little distracted by the soccer game here. Belgium was just firing shots at this goal. I don't know how that goalie's hanging in there. This poor man.
He's only giving up 4. I know that sounds like a lot in a soccer match.
But no, he's under fire all day. It's amazing that one didn't go and it hit the crossbar and bounced back out.
Well, it almost hit the goalie in the face with the rise. Like with the way he fell, it went right over his face.
But yeah.
Props to that goalkeeper, man. Because talk about just hanging in there. And it's not like you're going to pull a goalie because that's one of your subs, and you've already subbed 2 because you've got 2 guys taken out.
And I imagine if you had a better one, you'd start him. This is the best you've got. Really, he's just under fire a lot. That line is terrible.
I was about to say, I don't even think you can blame the goalkeeper on these. I mean, here we go, another run.
Look at this line.
Not a penalty.
What about an offside trap? Well, like, try and find a way to keep people out of the box. But yeah, no.
We're getting really distracted by that.
No, I'm just saying, like that was like they took 3 shots in a row at this guy, and his poor dude is on the ground, like swiping another one. But they tried to. The word on the street is that they tried to trade for Kawhi Leonard. The Spurs aren't hearing anything from anybody right now because they're trying to actually keep Kawhi.
Yeah, that ain't happening either.
Which for the Spurs are thinking to themselves, we have an opportunity again. What is this? What are we watching? Oh, great save! Yeah, no, he had some amazing saves. It's just the World Cup is here, you guys.
Yeah,
it's actually really fun.
Yeah, it is. And this game, man, like look at these guys on the ground. Oh, this is great radio. Oh my, what a save!
But yeah, they tried to trade for Kawhi Leonard. The Spurs aren't going to rush through this.
No, they
have until the beginning of the season.
Well, and then they still technically have him under contract anyway.
Yeah, it's his last year, and he'll be a free agent after this. But the Spurs are going, look, we'll wait until we absolutely have to, and we're going to play a game of chicken with Kawhi. Either we blink or you blink. Are you going to really try and force a trade here? Because he could. All Kawhi has to come out and say is, I absolutely just want to go to the Lakers. Then nobody else wants to trade with that team because everybody knows, okay, we know where he's going.
Well, and to be fair, we know Pop's not trading with the Lakers.
Yeah, Pop's not going to trade him to the Lakers, or that's what Pop says. But if the Lakers give you a convincing enough package,
what do they have?
I mean, they have draft picks, they have Lonzo, and they have Kyle Kuzma, who's not as good as he's going to be yet. And you have Greg Popovich, who is a great coach.
I think you would need Kuzma more than you would need Lonzo Ball.
Yes.
And they're not giving up Kuzma, man.
But the way that Greg Popovich coaches and what Greg Popovich was able to get out of a guy like Tony Parker early in his career, I could see a guy like Popovich working with Lonzo, and also they might have the best chance of any team in this league of fixing his shot, which looks fundamentally broken.
But then is Pop really going to want to go along with LeVar?
No, but and I want to talk about LeVar too because LeVar Ball has taken some L's and it might actually shut him up for once.
About damn time.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't think Colin Sexton's enough to keep LeBron in Cleveland. Now, if LeBron does stay in Cleveland, because LeBron might survey the landscape, and there's no guarantee that Paul George leaves Oklahoma City.
And that's what I want to talk to you about, too. And you can go ahead and finish your point, but that's exactly what I wanted to talk about.
Because I don't think LeBron goes to L.A. without Paul George or Kawhi.
No, not at all.
That's a wasted year. You might as well just stay in Cleveland.
Yeah.
You might be able to get back to another finals, and we'll go, oh, look how amazing LeBron is. He went back to another finals. Then if you go to L.A. and just waste your time there.
And not even make the playoffs.
I think they might make the playoffs. You have LeBron, you probably make the playoffs, but you don't go much further than the second round, I don't think, with that team and how stacked the West is. But I do think that if you're LeBron, you just stay in Cleveland if you survey the landscape and go, okay, I can't leave here. There's nowhere else for me to go. I think you just stay at home, and then the next year you try and jump when Kawhi's actually a free agent and can go where he wants to. Yeah. And where, I don't know if Paul George signs another deal with Oklahoma City, but even if he does, I don't think he signs more than another year because he doesn't want to trap himself in that either.
No, I think here's my opinion.
Okay.
If I'm LeBron James, okay, I stay in Cleveland, and here's why. One, Colin Sexton's a great draft pick for what they need since Kyrie decided he wanted to. So you get Colin Sexton. If they can ship out Kevin Love, get rid of that, and then maybe because guys are going to want to play with LeBron. So you might be able to get one of those guys to come with him to Cleveland. If he can get one guy with him, he'll stay. Because I think Colin can be that. He can take Colin under his wing and usher in a new Kyrie at point guard.
Which is essentially what you'd have. I mean, Colin Sexton, if you watched him at Alabama, he's got that same mentality. Kyrie had that mentality of just like, I'm a killer.
Killer instinct.
Yeah. And Colin Sexton's got it.
Yeah, he does.
In spades. I think that you have LeBron take that guy under his wing. And I also think he's not nearly like he has not nearly the ego that Kyrie's got.
Even if you don't keep LeBron, great pick by Cleveland.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be guys that maybe not right now, maybe not early, and they're going to have to go through some struggles if LeBron does leave. If you still have a guy you could build around in Colin Sexton, you might get a good draft pick next year, a high draft pick. If LeBron's gone, you probably will. You're talking about being able to add another, maybe a wing.
Right.
I mean, you might be able to build, but we all know how well Mr. Gilbert does that.
Yeah, and I'm interested because the GM Colby Altman he's only been GM. I mean, it feels like forever, but he's only been the GM for a year now.
Yeah.
So we don't know what his design of a Cleveland Cavaliers team would look like. David Griffin was the one that was the GM before, and they fired him, and LeBron didn't want them to fire him, and so here we are.
And I know we've talked about that before, but why would you fire a guy if your star doesn't want that person fired?
I don't know. But I think that's the Dan Gilbert problem. Is Dan Gilbert will do the opposite of whatever LeBron says.
I feel like he just wants to spite LeBron James.
LeBron said, "Don't trade David Griffin, or don't fire David Griffin." They fire David Griffin. Don't trade Kyrie. Trade Kyrie. Like whatever LeBron says he wants.
Because I truly do believe Kyrie and LeBron could have worked it out.
And they would have had to
at least play together. If you don't trade him,
if you don't trade him, they have to.
Yeah.
They absolutely have to. And if you go back to the finals and say you and LeBron with Kyrie now and you win a title over Golden State, does Kyrie just leave?
No, he wouldn't. Would you?
No, you just want a ring.
Because not only that, if you're Kyrie, you're thinking, okay, LeBron's got like, what, 3 years left? 3, 4, maybe? This will be my team.
And not only that, but Kyrie is one of these guys that worships at the altar of Kobe Bryant. And you're very young, and if you get to your second championship as young as Kyrie would have had he stayed, then you get to start to project your career and go, well, what if I start getting in that ballpark of 4, 5, 6 down the road?
Yeah,
then I could be in that great conversation too.
To be fair, I think he's going to have plenty of chances where he is now.
Yeah, no, he absolutely will. But I'm saying if you kept him, you basically keep him there in a situation where he doesn't necessarily have to be in Boston to get it.
So, not to completely, but I don't know how many people are like Saturday Down South, but they do a thing called Sad Fans Are Sad every week. They just showed a Tunisian gentleman. It wasn't Surrender Cobra ring, however you say that.
By the way, Texas fans are the kings of Surrender Cobra.
And if you're watching, this is Surrender Cobra.
Yeah, where you put your hands behind your head and your arms spread out, and you look quite a lot like a cobra. Except, of course, you're sad because you usually do that when your team's losing.
Definitely did that in Gainesville last year, but I threw that Hail Mary at the end of the game. Anyway, then he's just sitting there, like, just very distraught, and I understand. I mean, I feel you. I'm a Tennessee fan. I get it. Like, I know what you're going through. Sorry, we'll go back to the NBA. But yeah, I think Colin Sexton's a great ad. And you know, I still think they should have just kept Kyrie, like you said, and then we wouldn't even be talking about this. LeBron would still be there,
and they might have won a championship.
I mean, realistically, LeBron's not going to be exhausted in the finals if you have Kyrie.
Yeah. Plus, you have another guy. Because, I mean, there were games in the finals before where LeBron and Kyrie both went, like, I think LeBron went for 40-something and Kyrie went for 38. Like, you'll have those games.
And if that happens, nobody's beating you. Nobody's beating you.
It's tough. Now, obviously, you could go up against Golden State, and if you have one of those games where Durant and Curry go for 40, well, then, like...
It's wash.
And because then you have to count what Klay Thompson got, what LeBron got, and what... Yeah. Like, there's no way to really guarantee that. But there's at least a chance.
And I feel like if those two guys play like that, then the other team's not going to play like that.
But there's actually more pressure on Golden State. We would have gotten a better finals at least.
I still thought the finals was not it wasn't a 4-0. Like, it wasn't your normal 4-0 sweep. Two of those games were really close. Cleveland should have won both of them.
Really, it was the last game that was the problem of the finals, where it was just like, yeah, they quit. But again, who wants to lose with more effort? Like, you're not winning that game, and because Golden State had designs on beating you in your house. Like, Golden State had designs on crushing you at home. They weren't winning the game. You don't have the talent to win the game. Really? You're going to get swept, but like to do more work to do it? I don't have a problem with like waving the way.
No, I'm done. If I was LeBron, I'm like, I got a knee.
Yeah. It's like, let me put more wear and tear on my body so I can still be swept. And people can still go, well, Jordan wasn't swept in the finals, only I had to sweat more to hear people say that. Yeah, no thanks. No.
Yeah, Jordan wasn't swept in the finals, but Jordan was never gonna.
He was swept in first rounds. Yeah. Why do we act like that never happened?
And why do we act like Jordan was on the worst team ever? Like, I feel like we act like that. Jordan had really good teams.
It was a really good team. It's my least favorite thing that people say about it. It's like Jordan was never swept in the finals. Like, Jordan never played on a team that bad. And also about the Durant thing, it's like, I heard a thing on ESPN that completely blew my mind because Mike Greenberg said this and I wanted to slap him. He was just like, Kevin Durant joining the Golden State Warriors was like Charles Barkley joining the Bulls in the 90s.
No.
And I was like, are you insane? First off, the Warriors, 73-win team, but they lost in the finals. They didn't win a title that year. And Steph Curry is great, and Klay Thompson is great, but they're not Jordan and Pippen. Are you out of your mind?
No. There wasn't one person on that roster that even touched Jordan or Pippen.
Are you insane? Like, I just couldn't understand. Like, are you absolutely nuts?
Now there's a guy on that roster that could touch those two in Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
But there wasn't one. And now you talk, and people, I hate the fact, I know we've talked about this before too, but I absolutely hate the fact that people give Kevin Durant such a hard time. Kevin Durant wanted to win. He was not going to do that with Russell Westbrook, period. Not going to happen.
And it's like, if you have your choice of where to go, let's go to the team where it's harder. Let's not be silly here. I mean, that's
I know we don't have one, we don't have time to go down that rabbit hole, and two, we've done it before, but Kevin Durant deserved an opportunity to go win a championship, and he deserved to do it in Golden State. Now he's won two.
And as far as the balance of the league, Kevin Durant said it best. Balancing out the league, that's not my problem. That's not my problem. So
right.
In like the last 40 seconds of the show, what was your favorite pick in the NBA draft?
You know what? I'm going to go with a series of picks. I'm not going to go with just one. I think I love the DeAndre Ayton pick, and I think it's a no-brainer. I love DeAndre Ayton. I think he's great. But I think Phoenix Suns racked up. I thought they did a great job in the draft. So I will say their series of picks were my favorite because they didn't screw it up.
I like the move by Dallas to go up and get Doncic.
Yeah.
I think everybody has their fears about European players. And you have the greatest European player on your team ever. So at least you've got a guy who can take
Traffic, news, and information. Nuga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.